I'm still bored. So I thought, why wouldn't I share the story of how I got into the furry fandom? So, it's a long story, but not that long, so I thought it might be interesting to share, since I was kind of thinking about how I got into fandom, and I'm wearing Ravi, because technically she wasn't my first persona, but also she was. So yeah, I found out about Therians when I was about 13 or 14 years old. I'm almost 18 now, by the way. And I found out that I was a Therian through the, teen werewolf videos, and I saw people with a tail, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing ever. I thought it looked great. People with tails, wow. So, I started identifying as a wolf. And I wanted a tail, which was actually... God damn it, my rope is in the way. This is actually my first Therian tail I got, which is a fursuit tail. So, that's why I'm wearing it with Ravi as well. I was looking for tails, so I went on Google, and I searched, buy tails. And I got some tails, but I wasn't really satisfied with the result. And I also got a ton of mermaid tails, so I thought, furry tails. And I got a ton of results, specifically on Etsy, with this beautiful, colorful tails, but I wanted it as realistic as possible. And I was scrolling down on Etsy, and I saw this fursuit maker who made these hyper-realistic looking fursuit heads. And I was immediately in love. I identified as a Therian. I wanted to look like a wolf. I wanted to be a wolf. I was a wolf. So I saw this wolf and I was like, oh my god, that is me. In my head, I looked like that. That is me. So I wanted to buy it. The only problem was that it was 500 euros to buy the head. I was 13 or 14 at the time, and I didn't have that kind of money. Fun fact, I actually ended up commissioning a head from this maker, which is Ravi! So, my dream from that 14-year-old girl ended up being true, and here it is. But yeah, at that time I was already familiar with the name furry, since I had a couple of friends who didn't like furries, and they didn't like me identifying as a Therian either. So I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm a wolf. And they're like, ew, furry. And I'm like, a what? And they explained to me that furries were adults that dressed in costumes and thought they were animals, which is not what furries are, by the way. And they were like, yeah, and they have sex in animal costumes, and it's gross and disgusting. So I thought, ew, I don't want to have anything to do with those disgusting furries. Yeah, that's not what a furry is, but yeah, I thought about it like that, and I distanced myself from it, like, those goddamn furries ruining everything. But yeah, and then I started wearing this tail that I'm wearing right now, that I can't show because of my clothes. I was wearing this tail, and people kind of misidentified me as a furry because it was a furry tail. So I was like, alright then, guess I'm a fucking furry. So I looked it up furries because I thought, like, maybe it isn't a bad thing. And I found these amazing, beautiful costumes. And I was like, oh my god, yes! Yes! That is me! So I wanted to make Ravi. Wasn't called Ravi at the time. It was my first fursona. But I called her Benga at the time. I don't know why. That's just a name I came up with. I ended up really not liking that name. But yeah, it was like this realistic wolf called Benga, which was my actual identity at that time. And then I changed it to Ravi. And ended up getting a fursona. But yeah, I wanted a cartoon fursona, because that was like the typical thing you'd see. And I was like, I want a fursuit, but I don't have money. So I tried to make one, like every young fur does, and it's super cringy. But I did it anyway, and I ended up making Rika. I designed her kind of the colors I'd like, but for all of the other things, I designed her the way I could make her, not really the way I wanted it. Because if I would create a persona based on what I want, it would be this colorful, Celtic, amazing persona, which actually isn't me at all. So I'm a kind of complicated person, not in a good way. So I thought, I wanted Rika to be simple. And I like that Rika is so simple. She's such a standard persona. She's a wolf, of course. She's blue, one of the most used colors, and her pattern is super standard. And I liked it. I was like, wait, this isn't over the top, but I like it. And I really ended up connecting with this character that I kept it as a persona. I made some changes in her design recently because I thought like a design that's like a couple of years old and designed based on what I could make. I changed a tiny little thing, which is stripes that run from her back stripe to her middle. Which I like how it looks. Looks still kind of weird, but I like how it looks. And I started making videos like I'm like a low budget furry, or I'm maybe a furry, but not really. And but yeah, I was a fucking furry all the time. I ended up not identifying as a Therian anymore, and then I just was a furry. But yeah, I like being in the fandom, and when I first got in it, I kind of disassociated from it because I thought it was like this weird kinky thing, which a lot of people think. It ended up not being it. I still don't really agree with some things happening in the fandom, so I kind of keep the part that I like for myself, because I had some people commenting on pictures of my fursuits, kind of like sexualizing my characters, or like sending me like DMs with like roleplay stuff, and I really don't like that. And I let them know like, dude, I don't like that, and then blocked them. But yeah, please don't sexualize my character. They're safe for work. They're not sexual at all. Don't do it. I don't like it. They're my characters, my personas, and they're not sexual. So now you know. But yeah, that's how I became a furry, and how I didn't like furries despite actually being one. So yeah, thanks for listening to me explaining about my furry shit, which is still extremely boring and not interesting for anyone. Yeah, this was Ravi. I'm out.